Hello everybody, here is Christelle speaking, the marketing manager. So I'm here today with John Cuomo, and we are very happy to present you a new foundation regarding macronutrition solution with USANA, which is MySmart food line. So we are so excited to present you this amazing new range. So just to let you know that this range is very important, and it's a personalization solution to fit your lifestyle. And I would say, to improve all your lifestyles. If you are lightly active, if you are busy, always on the go, that you do not have time to prepare a healthy diet, MySmart Food may be a good solution for you. And if you are struggling with your lifestyles and your weight management, maybe also you could find a good solution with MySmart Food. And if you are a peak performer doing a lot of sport, we have also a solution for you. So keep posted. John will talk more about this amazing range. You just need to remember one thing. It's really easy and simple. It's a good way to personalize your diet, and MySmart Food range has been designed to fit your expectation. So it's really easy. You just have to remember the 1, 2, 3 method. First, you have to choose your protein base. Then you have to pick a flavor optimizer just to personalize your shake. You can even add a protein booster if you wish to reach your extra fitness goals. And you can add as well a specific protein bar, which are really good and really amazing. But I will not spend too much time on that because we are guests today to present this amazing range, and I would like to introduce you Dr. John Cuomo. John is responsible for all the product development and researches. He's working at USANA for almost more than 20 years now, and is working closely with Macronutrient, and we have the pleasure to have him today with us for you to give you this training on MySmart Food range. So John, this is your turn.
Thank you, Christelle. And let's get right into the MySmart Foods. So as we already heard, this is a solution to your macronutrients. And it's designed to help you personalize your macronutrient balance. Now, we know that today eating healthy is very difficult, and it's because of a combination of different things that have been going on. Number one, we have very unclear and changing guidelines from health authorities. We get contradicting information from some self-proclaimed online experts, and we have more and more food choices than ever before, but most of those food choices offer very poor nutrition. So we are actually eating fewer fruits and vegetables today than we've ever eaten in our history, and this is a very bad trend. As a matter of fact, over the last 30 to 40 years, we've had about a 25% increase in total calories. That's about 530 calories every day. And the majority of that comes from refined grains that are lacking in dietary fiber and are also lacking in many micronutrients. Snacks now constitute about 500 calories per day, way too many calories. And weight loss should be simple, right? All you need to do is to eat a little bit less and exercise a little bit more. But that's not occurring, and I want to show you what's really occurring in the world today. I'm going to use some information that was provided by the U.S. government, by the Centers for Disease Control, who have been monitoring the weight of the United States, state by state, since 1985, so over 30 years of data. And this is what that data looks like. If you go back into those early years, very few states had people that were obese or overweight, 10% or less. By the 1990s, that had increased to 15 to 20% in some states. And as time progressed, the number of obese people in the U.S. continued to grow year after year after year. If you can look at this chart, you can also see where that weight occurred first, and it was in a central belt from Texas up through Wisconsin, the Midwest, that became the heaviest first. And as a matter of fact, by 2010, nearly 30% of U.S. citizens were overweight or obese. Or actually 30% were obese and another 30 to 35% were overweight, leaving only about a third of the population that was normal weight. Now, I'm not sure if this means that this is our natural progression through evolution and we have no option but to become obese. I hope not. But the real question is overweight and obesity a problem? And the answer is yes, it is, because over that same period of time, the U.S. was also tracking the number of people that had type 2 diabetes. And as you can see from this chart, in those states where we became heaviest first, the amount of type 2 diabetes was going up at the same rate. So there's a very, very strong association between being overweight or obese and developing type 2 diabetes. As a matter of fact, there's about a 95% confidence interval that if you are overweight and obese, and if that overweight is mainly central obesity, that you will develop type 2 diabetes in the next 5 years. So this is a very, very serious health problem. And what's responsible? Well, I think there's really two things that are responsible. This balance does not occur. Our diet has increased so that we're getting more and more calories in. At the same time, our exercise levels have dropped, so we're burning fewer calories. This puts the equation out of balance. So what's the first thing that we all want to do? Well, we know that overeating and inactivity cause calories in to exceed calories out, and that if this is left unchecked, it'll develop into first insulin resistance, then metabolic syndrome, and then type 2 diabetes. So we try to get ourselves back into balance by going out and exercising. And I don't think this is the place you want to go to exercise. If you have to take an escalator to get to your exercise class, then there's something wrong with your overall activity levels. As a matter of fact, I have a big problem with escalators. This is something that most of us should try to avoid. Just simply taking the stairs instead of taking an elevator or an escalator will help to burn calories and get you back into balance. We better skip that. So what can you do if you want to exercise more? Number one, you can turn off your TV. Watching TV for just 2 extra hours per day doubles the chance of you being overweight. Also, watching TV increases your body mass index, or your BMI. It also increases the amount of fasting triglycerides and lowers HDL, or good cholesterol. And there are many, many benefits to exercise other than losing weight. As a matter of fact, exercise helps lower triglycerides. It increases HDL, or the good type of cholesterol. It lowers your blood pressure, and it also increases your insulin sensitivity. It turns out that most of our insulin receptors are located in muscle cells and not in fat cells. So when you exercise and you increase the number and the activity of your muscle cells, it also increases your insulin sensitivity. And also, Exercise increases HDL. HDL is the good type of cholesterol. Just 2.5 hours per week of moderate exercise, and by moderate exercise, I mean a walking program, will increase your HDL by 23%. There is no pharmaceutical drug that will safely increase HDL. There's really only two good ways to increase HDL. One is exercise. The other is moderate amounts of alcohol. If you drink 1 or 2 glasses of alcohol per day, it helps raise your HDL, and this actually lowers your risk of developing heart disease. So from this, I think we can assume that some of the healthiest people in the world spend their day running from bar to bar. So just remember that exercise does not have to be aerobics in hell. You don't have to run marathon to be in good shape from exercising. You don't have to do push-ups and weightlifting and go to the gym and spend hours and hours every day. Exercise is as simple as pushing yourself away from your desk and getting up and walking. If we could all walk for about 30 minutes at least 4 times per week, it will help us get into a much healthier state to get some of those benefits and to help rebalance our energy output. Now the second part of the equation is to reduce our input of activity. But before I tell you that, I have to show you my exercise machine. This is my dog, Sandy, about a 6-year-old lab, and I have to take her out about an hour every single day to give her exercise. This also gives me exercise. So whatever you do, find a good way to build exercise into your daily routine. Now let's talk about the other part of the equation. How many calories go into our mouths every single day? Over the last 15 or 20 years, we have become supersized. Portion sizes have increased dramatically. As that happens, so do the calories, so does our weight and our waist size. And it's happening because we know that supersized cells, we're all looking for the value meals that are out there. But you have to remember that you are what you eat, and all too importantly, this is what's happening to our children. They're becoming obese and overweight at a much, much younger age because they're eating too much. Now, when I was younger, type 2 diabetes was called adult onset diabetes. We had to change the name of the disease because so many young children were developing diabetes earlier and earlier in life. So now it's called type 2 diabetes instead of adult onset diabetes. And let's talk about this supersizing. Back when I was a child, you could get a Coke in a 6-ounce bottle. That's about 200 milliliters. In 1960, they introduced a 12-ounce can, which became a 32-ounce Big Gulp from our friends at 7-Eleven, which then developed into the 44-ounce Super Big Gulp, and then the 52-ounce Extreme Gulp. As a matter of fact, there's a 64-ounce Double Gulp. I couldn't even fit the picture on this slide. But what's happening with these? Well, first of all, the calories have gone up dramatically. That old 6-ounce Coke was about 78 calories per serving. It doubled when it went to a 12-ounce, became 416 calories in that Big Gulp, and then 572, all the way up to 832 calories in a single Extreme Double Gulp. This is way too many calories for anybody to consume in a single day. First of all, we don't respond to calories from drinks the same way we do to calories from solid food. We don't perceive ourselves as being as full. But more importantly, the total calories that you absorb from any of these drinks are way too high. We should be eating a diet for women somewhere between 1,500 and maybe as high as 1,800 calories per day. For men, it's probably about 2,000 to 2,300 calories per day. If you're getting 500, 600, 800 calories from a drink, it doesn't leave enough space to get calories from the good foods that you need to take. It replaces those very healthy foods. Even more importantly is the amount of sugar that is in these drinks. That old 6-ounce Coke had only 20 grams of sugar. It doubled to 40 grams, then went to 100 grams. You can get as much as 200 grams of sugar from a single drink, and we simply cannot absorb this much sugar in a day. We use sugar to make energy, but when you get 200 or more grams of sugar in your diet every single day, you simply cannot produce enough energy, and you have to store that sugar as basically as fat. And it also introduces another concept which is called glycemic stress or glycemic impact. Foods with a high glycemic load induce glycemic stress. And what do we mean by this term, glycemic stress? Well, I think I can show this to you graphically. When you drink or eat a high glycemic food, this is what happens to your blood sugar. It rises very rapidly, hits a peak at about 30 minutes, and then we secrete insulin when we have sugar available in our blood. Insulin is our primary storage hormone. It responds to food that has been eating, and particularly to sugars. It tells your body that sugar is available, that fuel is available, and you harvest that sugar. You take it into your cells where you can convert it to energy. Now, unfortunately, when you eat a high glycemic meal and your blood sugar is rising very rapidly, we over-secrete insulin. When you over-secrete insulin, you're so active at harvesting that glucose that's available, the sugar that's available, that your total blood sugar drops down below where it was at a fasting state. You become what's called hypoglycemic, or have low blood sugar. And this has some physiological effects. Number one, it makes you feel very bad. You get faint. Some people will almost pass out. But it also tells your body that you're out of fuel and that you need to eat. It makes you hungry. And if you eat another high glycemic meal, you'll do the same thing over and over again. Your blood sugar will rise rapidly. You'll secrete insulin. You'll harvest all of that blood sugar, and you'll become hypoglycemic. You'll get hungry again. You'll eat again, and you'll do this over and over and over again. This slide shows you a typical eating pattern in much of the world today. We get up in the morning at 7 o'clock in the morning, and we're all told that we should eat a good breakfast, the most important meal of the day. If that's a high glycemic meal, your blood sugar starts to rise. By about 7:30, 8 o'clock, you're already at that high state, and then your blood sugar starts to drop. You get into work and you're already hungry. You're looking for some food. You'll have a candy bar, or you'll have something to eat. Your blood sugar will rise up again. You'll feel good around 10 o'clock, but by 10:30, you're bottoming out again, and you're looking for more food. You're searching around to see if anybody else at work brought in something to eat. You're eating donuts and cakes and croissants and other things. And you continue to have this rise and drop in high blood sugar day after day after day, and hour after hour after hour. Now let's contrast this with a low glycemic meal. When you have a low glycemic meal, your blood sugar rises, but only slowly, and it doesn't rise to a very high amount. You don't over-secrete insulin with this slow rise in blood sugar, so that you very slowly harvest all of that energy that's available within your blood, all of that sugar. If you overlap these two eating patterns, you can automatically see that when you eat a low glycemic meal, you can start to spread out the time between meals because you don't get hungry nearly as often. So instead of eating every 2 hours, you can spread that out to 3, 4, maybe even 5 hours before you get hungry again. There's another very serious problem with high blood sugar. We already know that when you have low blood sugar, it triggers you to overeat. But when you have high blood sugar, there's a number of things that are very deleterious, that are very bad, that shouldn't happen. Sugar, as you know, is very, very sticky. It will stick to almost anything. And as a matter of fact, it sticks to the inside of your blood vessels. It will get incorporated into many of the plaques that are already in your blood vessels. When that sugar gets in there, it increases inflammation, it impairs blood flow, it impairs the way that your blood vessels work. It also sticks to other things within your blood, many of the enzymes and proteins that shouldn't be attached to sugar. Very, very dangerous situation. And this is what leads to type 2 diabetes and insulin resistance. So there's really two consequences of eating high glycemic foods. One, in the short term, you rapidly spike glucose or blood sugar. This in turn triggers the secretion of insulin. It leads to a very rapid decline in blood sugar shortly after you start eating that triggers hunger and overeating. But in the long term, repeated spiking of this system leads to insulin resistance, which then develops into metabolic syndrome and eventually into type 2 diabetes. So let's talk a little about this metabolic syndrome. This is actually a clinically diagnosed disorder. If you have a waist circumference in men of over 102 centimeters, or in women of over 88 centimeters, and any two of these other issues, high fasting triglycerides, low HDL, low good cholesterol, high blood pressure, high fasting glucose, then you're defined as having metabolic syndrome. If you have metabolic syndrome, you also have insulin insensitivity, and this will develop into type 2 diabetes. So there's this whole insulin resistance syndrome that starts with metabolic syndrome and insulin resistance, but leads to things like vascular inflammation, inflammation within your blood vessels. And that triggers abnormal vascular behavior. Your blood vessels don't expand and contract the way they're supposed to. You'll also develop dyslipidemia, or high total cholesterol, high fasting triglycerides. It eventually develops into type 2 diabetes, raises your blood pressure, gives you heart disease, and causes all kinds of other health issues. And high glycemic foods and abdominal obesity are the triggers for this whole syndrome. So as a response to that, USANA has been making low glycemic foods for a long, long time. The MySmart foods are designed to have a very low glycemic impact. What does that mean? It means that the total glycemic load is low. Now, we no longer publish a glycemic index or GI number on the products. The reason we don't do this is because the total amount of sugar in the product is very, very low. It's 0 grams. GI testing requires that you ingest about 50 grams of total digestible carbohydrates within 10 minutes. So to perform this sort of a test with the new MySmart shakes, you'd have to have about 10 servings. And 10 servings is way too much. It's nearly a full gallon of a drink. It's way too much for any of us to ingest in that period of time. So we no longer have a GI number, but be assured that there's a very, very low glycemic impact from these foods. So let's talk about MySmart foods. And what does this mean? This acronym SMART. Well, it means number one, S, simple and pure ingredients, macronutrient balance, using advanced fats, research validated, and totally personalized. What do we mean by simple? Number one, we have 3 shake bases. All 3 of these bases have this very similar macronutrient profiles. The source of protein, however, is different in each one of those. If you look at the ingredient deck, you'll see that it's very simple and uses very pure ingredients. As a matter of fact, each shake base has only 13 total ingredients, and they're made from things that are very, very easy to understand, like whey protein concentrate, gluten-free oat bran, organic agave inulin, cane fiber, coconut oil, medium-chain triglycerides, gum arabic, and some preservatives, potassium sorbate, Gower gum, xanthate gum, natural flavors, sea salt, and stevia. And they have a macronutrient balance. First, they have carbohydrates. In this case, we have about 12 grams of total carbohydrate in a shake. However, most of that comes from dietary fiber, about 8 grams of dietary fiber with a good mix of both soluble and insoluble fiber and no added sugars. Carbohydrates are your primary energy source. They break down into simple blood sugar or glucose, which we need to provide energy, but they break down very slowly. And fibers are a special type of carbohydrates that are almost indigestible and provide many, many different health benefits. High fiber promotes healthy, normal digestion. High fiber is also a prebiotic. That is, it helps to establish a very healthy mix of bacteria within your gut or your microbiome. High fiber also fills you up. It makes you satiated, so it promotes a feeling of fullness, and this can help aid in weight management. And I think importantly, all of the new MySmart shakes are made without any added refined sugars. So we have a low total digestible carbohydrate, and it reduces that sugar spike that you can get from eating high glycemic foods or foods that release a lot of sugar in a short period of time. That's because instead of using sugar, we've used stevia, a natural sweetener that is much more sweet than sugar, and it's used to sweeten most of the new MySmart foods. Secondly, we also have another macronutrient, protein. In this case, though, we give you a choice of 3 different types of protein. One of the shakes is based on soy protein. One is based on a plant, non-soy plant protein, a mixture of pea and potato protein, and the third shake uses whey protein isolate. There's 18 grams of protein in each shake, making it a very high protein food. And finally, there's fat. Now, I know most of you have heard for years and years that fat is bad for you, but this is simply not true. We need fat, and we need fats every single day. And the science is changing. If you look at some of the headlines from years ago, cholesterol and fat were supposed to be very bad for you, but now the science has changed and cholesterol and fat may not be so bad for you. As a matter of fact, we're told that we may want to go back to eating some of the natural fats that we have in the past. Now, the body needs both saturated and unsaturated fats to function. Fats are functional molecules within your body. Every single cell in your body is encased with a bilayer of phospholipids that are basically made of fats. So we have fats that encase all of our cells, and we need both saturated and unsaturated fats to make sure that that's a healthy balance. We are now using a mixture of organic coconut oil and medium-chain triglycerides as the source of fats in USANA products. And these are beneficial fats. Coconut oil is really the primary source of fat in the new MySmart foods, and coconut oil is made mainly of medium-chain triglycerides, or MCTs. This comprises over half of the fat found in coconut oil. And the interesting thing about these MCTs are that they're much more rapidly transported into the body. They can be used as a direct source of energy, and they have fewer calories per gram than other fats. So most fats are about 9 calories per gram. Medium-chain triglycerides are actually only about 6.8 calories per gram. So when you consume medium-chain triglycerides on a gram per gram basis, you get the same feeling of richness, you get the same satiety from that, but with fewer calories. So coconut oil, though, and medium-chain triglycerides are saturated fat, and that's why that number has increased on the label. But these MCTs are a very healthy source of saturated fat. And recommendations for fat, including saturated fat, have changed over the years. We are on top of that research, and we have adjusted to that and are now providing you with a very healthy source of medium-chain triglycerides in your diet. We also have a lot of science behind the use of fiber. Fiber is very, very important, and it is one of the missing macronutrients in most people's diet. And the USANA MySmart shakes provide 8 grams of total fiber in every single shake. The American Heart Association has also made some recommendations for sugar intake over the years, and we are on top of that as well. So for men and women, the total amount of calories from sugar should not exceed 150 calories, or about 40 grams for men, or 100 calories, or 25 grams for women. That's why we've made the MySmart shakes with any added sugars. And these shakes are as easy as 1, 2, 3, and it takes personalization to the next level. These are totally personalized products. So number 1 is your shake base. You can pick whatever shake base you want depending on the type of protein that you would like to get in your diet. I know many of us have issues with certain types of protein. That's why we offer 3 different types, so that you can personalize your shake base. Now each of the shake bases already has a mild vanilla flavor. You can stop at number 1 and just make your shake with the base and drink it as is. Or you can go on to number 2 and change the flavor of that shake by adding one of our flavor optimizers to that shake. And you can stop there. Or if you want additional protein, you can use our performance booster or protein powder. So number 1 is your protein base, number 2 is your flavor optimizer, number 3 is your performance booster. And again, the shake bases are exactly the same except for the source of protein. One is with soy protein, one is with a potato and pea protein, one uses whey protein. And we offer a number of different flavor optimizers. In the UK, or in the EU today, we have 3 different choices: chocolate, banana, and cappuccino. We also have a number of other flavor optimizers that may be available here in a short while. And finally, we have our protein optimizer, which is 100% whey protein, 10 grams of protein per serving, and it'll only add an additional 50 calories. So that is our MySmart Shake program, which is a totally personalized program. But there's another part of our MySmart foods, and that's the MySmart bar. So MySmart bar is also totally personalized. There are 3 different choices. Each bar has between 130 and 150 calories, 6 to 7 grams of fat, but all of that fat comes from organic coconut oil, 13 grams of total carbohydrate, and again, very high in fiber, 6 to 9 grams of fiber per bar with only 1 to 5 grams of sugar. And again, this is not added sugar. These are natural sugars that are already present in the materials that are used to make the bar. And each bar has about 10 grams of protein, so a very nice macronutrient balance. The MySmart bars are also low glycemic. There's no added refined sugars. There's a high source of fiber, and as such, it's a very low glycemic impact. It's an excellent source of fiber. The beneficial fat containing the beneficial fat from organic coconut oil, and a very nice balance of protein, fat, and carbohydrates. And of course, we use a high quality protein. So that's basically the story on MySmart foods, but I want to give you the top 10 features of these new MySmart foods. They're all gluten-free. They are not bioengineered. That is, they do not contain genetically modified organisms. Using very high quality of protein, and you can choose the type protein that you consume, have a very low glycemic impact, and they're all formulated with no added refined sugars. The fat is a beneficial fat from coconut oil containing no trans fats at all. They are all excellent sources of fiber. They're lower in calories than most other bars and shakes, and they have a very beneficial balance of protein, fat, and fiber. MySmart Start system will also help you to lose the cravings, lose the pounds, and gain control over your diet. And this is a no excuse formula. There is no gluten, no genetically modified materials. If you want no soy, we have choices with the veggie protein and with dairy protein. If you don't want no dairy, you can eat any of the other protein sources. We have no artificial flavors and no artificial sweeteners in the MySmart foods. And this is another example of why everything we do helps you to love life and live it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, John. This was, again, wonderful knowledge. Thank you very much for listening. Have a good day. Bye-bye.